Hey everyone, welcome back to Music with Ryan. Thanks for joining me for today's free little lecture lesson. Today I'm going to start to dig in and try to make sense for some of you the circle of fifths, okay? And I've got a circle of fifths chart here, not completed, and I'm going to add some things in and explain. And a lot of people get really confused about the circle of fifths, and I want to try to make sense out of it, like I said. And how can we actually use it? It takes some memorizing, it takes some work to kind of get it, but it's a super powerful tool. And once you kind of work on it, practice it, it starts to come in your head a little bit better. And we're also going to talk about the order of sharps and flats. Okay, that's a big deal too, especially when we're constructing solos and doing scales and what notes are we playing and why is it sharp or why is it flat. Well, this circle of fifths will tell us a little bit. So first, if you want to download a nice little diagram, members, just click the link in the box. For members, click the link and you can download just a nice little clean chart for the circle of fifths. They're all over online too. But if you're not a free member, sign up right here. Click this link and you can access all my free lessons. I have a free lecture lesson once a week. And just sign up. I got tons of stuff. It takes 2 minutes and free to do. So let's talk about the circle of fifths a little bit. See if I can help you wrap your head around it, because it takes a minute. I had to study this in school. I had to memorize it. I was tested on it. So that's why I guess I know it, and that's why some of you don't know it, is because you weren't forced to learn it. So the circle of fifths, best explained, but one of the ways to explain is, so these keys out here, or these notes out here on the outside of the circle, are the major keys, okay? We think about this as keys. So major, okay? Major keys out here. Okay, so C major, G major, D major, A major, E major. And again, I didn't complete the ones down here with a lot of sharps and flats. We don't need to worry about that right now. I might fill it in here in a sec. And then the ones inside of here are minor. You see the little M underneath of it, so the minor keys are in here. So minor keys on the inside, major keys on the outside. So as you see, everything kind of has two. They call this a brother or sister key, or a relative minor key. So for every major key, there is a relative minor or a brother sister key. That's the way I should put it. And vice versa. For every minor key, there's a relative major key. Okay? Again, brother or sister. And what that means is that if I have a C scale and I play C to C, it contains the same notes as an A minor scale when played from A to A. The same notes are contained. They just start and end on a different note. Start and end on A, start and end on C. But all the notes are the same. There's no sharps and flats. No sharps or flats. No sharps or flats for C. Okay? No sharps and flats in the key. That's why it's always best to start there. Another way to think about it, one of the big things you want to take away right away from this diagram is starting to memorize the major keys. I always start with the major key. Memorize the minor key, or the relative minor key. Okay? Because again, they have strong relationship. And these minors, I'm not confusing you further. I'm going to confuse you a little bit. The minors are always the sixth note of the scale degree. Okay? The sixth note of that key. So if I start on C, D, E, F, G, A, sixth. They're always the sixth. Now sometimes they're sharp, like over here. Sometimes they might, they get flatted. They don't get flatted over here. So that's why you need to know about your sharps and flats. But again, we want to know which keys, major key, and their relative minor key. And you kind of got to memorize it. Or if you just pick a key, A, then you got to count up. A, B, C, D, E, F. Well, it's not F, it's F sharp minor. But that's one way to start to think about it, okay? It's the 6th scale degree of the major key is the relative minor, okay? C, D, E, F, G, A. The 6th scale degree. Okay, so that's one thing. And it's super powerful because if you notice in songs, you're using these minor keys, or this, I should say, you're using that minor chord when you're playing within C, right? You often do A minor when you're in the key of C. You often do E minor when you're in the key of G. That's because, again, they're brother and sister. They are basically one and the same, okay? So that's the first thing. Now, another thing, the next thing that I think is really useful is this helps us tell how many sharps and flats are in each key, okay? So if I go to the right, it's sharps. If I go to the left, it's flats, okay? So C and A minor, they don't have any sharps or flats. That's why it's in the middle. We go 1 to the right, G has 1 sharp, okay? 1 sharp. So when I play notes, like a scale, a G scale, if I do a major scale, I have 1 sharp. That sharp will be F. And we're going to get to the sharps and flats in a second. There's an order of sharps and flats, okay? But for now, we'll know G, the key of G, the key of E minor, it always contains 1 sharp. Okay, and we'll figure out what that 1 sharp, it's F. But I'll try to explain why. If I go to D, now it's just 2. And then so forth, right? 1, 2, 3 sharps, 4 sharps. Down here is B. And what's B's minor? G sharp minor. I should just count it up for you, but I looked. 5 sharps, okay? So I start to memorize that I know if, like, okay, G has 1 sharp, D has 2 sharps, A has 3 sharps. Now we got to start to name them, of course, but just knowing that's what the diagram's kind of telling us. So if I go to the left now, 1 flat for D or for F or D minor, 2 flats. Okay, sorry, I circled a bad circle for B flat or G minor. 3, 4, and 5 and 6. Okay, you really after 5, it gets kind of hairy. We don't usually play in those keys anyway, or not often. So again, to the right, sharps. To the left, flats. 1 sharp, 2 sharps, 3 sharps, 4 sharps, 5 sharps. So I know, key of A, how many sharps? I look at my diagram, there's 3 sharps. What's the relative minor? F sharp minor. Okay? So get you started. So some of you are probably like, well, Ryan, why is it called the circle of fifths? I'm sure that's a question in your head. And the answer is that when the circle goes this way, it's traveling by an interval of a fifth, if that makes sense. So from C, if I go in interval, the distance between 2 notes, okay? Interval, distance between 2 notes. When I go C to G, that's a distance of a fifth. C, D, E, F, G. G to D, a fifth. G, A, B, C, D, and so forth. Okay, and just go, that's why it's a circle. And you can kind of make a song out of it. It's kind of a song that never ends. C, G, D, A, E. There's something about it you can kind of keep on going. And then consequently, actually, if you go to the left, it's fourths. If you go around here, it's fourths. Okay, but it's called the circle of fifths because when we travel to the right, we're going from each key, it's a fifth, or between the 2 notes, okay? So, if I haven't lost you yet, there's one more thing that we need to know. We need to know our order of sharps and flats because, when we say, okay, there's 1 sharp in G, well, what is it? Or there's 3 flats in E flat. Well, what are those 3 flats? We need to know that. So there's another thing we need to know. And the only way you can really do it is you need to start to memorize it. Okay? Some of this stuff is, you need to almost need to be quizzed and you need to work on it. Again, I was tested on it. I was tested on it all the time. And I had to memorize. After a while, my teacher would say, you got to know it. Like 2 plus 2. You just know it's 4. Key of G, 1 sharp, it's F. I just know that, okay? Another big thing about this, before I do the order sharps and flats, I'll mention is, you're probably like, well, why do I need to know this? What am I? Well, there's many reasons, like always, but this will help us build chords. And when you can build chords, you can create solos. You can create more creative solos. You're getting a bigger depth of knowledge about music and why it's C, why it's E, why in these keys do I always create, or if like I'm in the key of G, I'm always on the B and the D and the G. Well, that's the 1, 3, 5. And you need to know if it's going to be a sharps or flats. So it's a big world, okay? But if you want to raise your game up, if you want to elevate your music knowledge and your playing and musicianship, you got to start to know this stuff. And even if it's a little bit, like I didn't even draw the rest of this diagram down here. Just start here. Start, with 2 flats and 2 sharps, okay? Take it in chunks, my friends. Take it in chunks. Okay, so I'm getting a little long here, but order of sharps and flats. Okay. They go like this here. I know them, but I don't want to write them down wrong. And I'll have this on the diagram too, so click the link and you can be able to print out the order of sharps and flats. Just so you can have it, hang it up on your desk, hang it up in your practice area. Okay, sorry, that's D is really bad there. So, when I'm thinking about sharps, they go this way. Okay, so if I have 1 sharp, it will always be F. Always. 1 sharp. If I have 2 sharps, it's going to be F and C now. Okay, always. If the key has 3 sharps, F, C, and G. And you can see this too, like I can tell a key by a song on a sheet of piano music by looking at the sharps and flats. I go, oh, 4 sharps, key E. I just know. Okay? So that's a powerful tool if you're reading music like that. 4 sharps, F, C, G, and D. Sharps go that way. So there's the order. And we can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which we don't ever really have 7 sharps. We rarely even have 6 sharps in a key, okay? Sometimes, we're playing key of D sharp or E flat, depends how you want to think about it. But again, stick to the basics. So now the flats, if you're in the flatted side, you're in the key of F, how do you know? Well, it's just backwards now. So flats go that way. Horrible flat sign. There we go. Flats go this way. So I know my chart's getting a little messy here, but that's the nature of the beast a little bit. So if I have 1 flat, if I'm in the key of F, it's 1 flat. What is that flat, guys? Oh, it's B. I know my order of sharps and flats. 2 flats. B and E. I know my order. 3 flat. Okay, I'm in E flat. Okay, E flat has 3 sharps because I just know that. I just memorized that. Those 3 sharps are B, E, and A. And so forth. Okay, sharps go that way, flats go this way. Okay, so it's just something you got to memorize. And again, just stick to because those are the keys that most of us play in. You know what I mean? Most of us just play in simple keys. I mean, sometimes, as guitar players, we capo, of course. A lot of times we capo up, and then things get a little more hairy about, you might capo up on the 3rd fret and play out of C position. That's key of E flat. Well, but I know E flat, there's 3. But I got to think I'm in C now, though. I got to think I'm in C. So that can be a little confusing. But if, for instance, I'm not using the capo and playing E flat, then that's where it starts coming into play, even better. So it's kind of a, rabbit hole a little bit, but super powerful here. And actually, in the scope of music theory, this is the basics. Okay? This is the groundwork, the framework for everything. Yeah, I think everything. Okay? So take it in chunks, come back to this lesson, look at it, try it, think about it. What I really want you to do is really start to, if it's, a lot for you, start to memorize just the major key and the minor relative. That's a big one, because once you start strumming songs, you'll be like, oh, when I'm in the key of A, I always go play this F sharp minor thing. That's because it's the sixth. It's the relative minor. Now we'll start to unlock. That's where it started for me. It started to unlock doors when I was realizing I was playing these chords. I was playing a song, and all these chords kept coming up, and why is it always, like D minor and F? Why do they always go together? Well, they're related. Okay, and then I started to there's one flat. I want to take a solo, so I got to play an F scale, and I got to make sure I got one flat in there, and so forth. So again, it just opens up a lot of doors, and you just got to get exposed, and you got to try it. Okay. I think that's all. Again, make a comment. I should have mentioned this earlier, but make a comment below. Start a conversation. I'm sure there's questions. Ask them. Someone else probably has the same question. I'll answer them. Again, I'll do follow-up videos. I'm doing one of these once a week. Ask questions. Make a comment. I'm confused. What's going on? I'm here to help, and I want to get you guys to understand some of this because, this is my superpower, is passing along this music stuff to you guys. So I'm trying my best, and I wanna get it across. And sometimes, for me, everyone learns different, right? And for me, I remember my teacher saying the same things over and over, like the same concept, but she'd say it differently. She'd phrase it differently. She'd say it. She'd show me different. There's some other tricks about this I didn't show you that help you memorize. I didn't show. So we'd ask questions, and then she'd say it again, and she'd say it again, and then I'm like, oh, I understood it there. So it takes a few times around, especially if you're really new to it. If you have an idea, it comes a little easier, but still. Okay, that's it. That's all I got for today. Stay tuned for more weekly free lecture lessons. Okay, at my website, sign up, free member, or down below, one of the links down there, and then you'll know when they come out. Okay? See you next time.